Hello guys, welcome to another video. This one is paper 2 of Add Math from the year 2020 for the specimen paper. So in this video, we're going to be doing all the questions one by one, step by step, and I will try my best to explain every question as detailed as possible. So please follow through the questions one by one and let's solve them together. So let's move on to question number 1. So first one here we have solve xy equal to 3, and then we have x power 4 y power 5 equal to 486. So basically we have to find the values of x and y. So here we have xy, this is our first equation, and here we have x power 4 y power 5. Now you have to think, how can we use the first equation in this one, right? So if you observe, what is y power 5? It is equal to y power 4 times y. Okay, now replace that back in here. You will have x power 4 times y power 4 times y is equal to 486. Now if you observe, if you factorize those two for the power, you get xy power 4 times y equal to 486. So now if you observe, you know the value of xy is 3, so this is 3 power 4 y is 486. So from this you can find the value of y. Y will be 46 divided by 3 power 4. That will be 6. So value of y will be 6. Now we have to find the value of x. So going back to the first equation, we know x times y, which is 6, is equal to 3. X will be 3 divided by 6, which is 0.5. Okay, so as you can see, we have the value of y 6 and the value of x equal to 0.5. And that is your question number 1. Now question number 2. On the axis below, sketch the graph of y equal to 1 over 5 times x minus 2, x minus 4, x plus 5, showing the coordinates of the points where the graph meets the axis, which means the x-axis and the y-axis. So as always, we will proceed one by one. So you would say at x-axis, we know the value of y is 0, so replace, you will have 0, 1 over 5, x minus 2, x minus 4, x plus 5. So now we have to solve this equation. So as you can see here, we have a fraction. We can just multiply by 5 everywhere. You will get the same thing, right? So this will go away, but you will have the same thing on the inside. Basically, the values for x did not change. Now we can find the values. X will be 2, 4, and minus 5. Okay, so we have 3 points on the x-axis. Now we can just mark them. Let's use a ruler here just to make our scale for the x-axis. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, and minus 5. Now we have a point here which is x is 2, y is 0, so 2, 0 will be here, 4, 0 will be here, and minus 5, 0 will be right here. So we have these 3 points on the x-axis. Now the same steps, we have to find the points on the y-axis. So you would say at y-axis, you know x has to be 0. Replace in the equation. Y is equal to 1 over 5. 0 minus 2 is minus 2, minus 4, and 5. That will be 8. So the point will be 0, 8. So that's one of the points we know. So 0, 8 will be on your y-axis. Now let's see now, because we know this one is as you can see, it is 3 factors. It is a cubic function. Cubic function will have a maximum point and also a minimum point. But you don't need to know that. But let's just see, we want to know what is the direction of the curve. As you can see here, we can see from here it has to be going up because we have the point 0, 8 somewhere here, so this has to be going up, which means this has to be going down. Okay, but let's just find a point 4, 3, so we know where to draw this approximately. So the midpoint here we have 1, 2 divided by 2 is 1, so 1 midpoint will be 3. So let's find the value of y when x equal to 3. So let's do that. We have 1 over 5 times 3 minus 2 is 1, 3 minus 4 is minus 1, and 3 plus 5 is 8. That will be minus 1.6. So it should be somewhere about here. For example, it is only a sketch, so as you can see, it is only a sketch. It doesn't need to be exact. You just need to mention it is somewhere about this value, which is minus 1.6. Now, you know that this part of the graph will look something like this. Okay, that is this part of the graph. Okay, now what is the midpoint between those two values? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 divided by 2 is 3.5, so we count 1, 2, 3, 3.5 will be the value here. So this is the value of minus 1.5. Let's find the value of y when that is true. So y will be 1 over 5 times minus 1.5 minus 3 is minus 3.5 times minus 5.5 times, that will be what? So we have minus 1.5 plus 5, that will be 13.475. So the value here should be somewhere around here. So it doesn't need to be exact, it's only a sketch. So let's say somewhere about here. So basically now we need to join the graph. So this is the max point, for example, and this has to be joined here, and this has to join this one. Okay, so as you can see, this is your cubic graph. You can label this as y equal to 1 over 5 times x minus 2, x minus 4, and x plus 5. Of course, you have to mark the points where it meets your axis. This is the point of 8, as you can see, 0, 8. You can write this down as 13.475. Okay, and this is the point as you label here, and these are the points on the x-axis. So the main thing you need to show is that showing the coordinates of the points on the axis. So the main point you need to show is this one, and this one, and this one on the axis. And then these points help us to know the direction of our curve. That's why we do that. But it should have a shape like this. Okay, that will be the main point of doing this graph, by showing those points, and the shape is like this. That is for part 1. Now for part B, explain why your sketch in part A can be used to solve this equation. So as you can see here, as we did here, when we solve this equation, it's the same as this, because this one is only a multiple. When we multiply by 5, we remove this one, but the values of x did not change. That's why it's the same as solving this equation. So let's write this down. Basically, we explain that by multiplying the equation a by 5, we remove the 1 over 5, but the values of x does not change. That's why we can use that to does not change. Okay, that is enough for part B. Now for part C, hence solve this equation. Basically, we have to see where this is less than 0. So same thing. By observation, you will see that it is true for this part and for this part. So basically, it is less than 0 when x is less or equal to minus 5, and between those two values, which is 2 and 4. Okay, so that will be your answer for part C. And that is your question number 2. Now let's move on to question number 3. So here we have to solve these equations. So part 1, find G inverse, and then we have to state its domain and the range. So first thing, let's find G inverse. So first step, as you guys know, G inverse, we have to first let y equal to g of x, which is equal to 2 plus 4 ln of x. Then we have to make x become the subject of formula. So first we send the 2 over here. You will have y minus 2 is equal to 4 ln of x. Ln of x is equal to y minus 2 divided by 4. Now we have to make x become subject. So x will be exponential y minus 2 over 4. But our answer needs to be in terms of x. So finally, G inverse of x will be exponential x minus 2 over 4. That will be your answer for this one. Now we have to stating its domain and its range. Now here we have to use a trick that we need to know for those kind of questions. So domain of G inverse is equal to the range of G, and range of G inverse is equal to domain of G. So from what we can see here, we can find this one already because it is given to us. Domain of G has been given to us by x more than 0. So which means the range of G is also this value, but we don't write range in terms of x. We write range in terms of y, or we write this one. So we say range is, we write this, is more than 0. Okay, that is the first one we know. Now we have to find domain of g of x. Domain is a range of g of x. So you look at this graph, at the graph of g of x. So it is always easier if you know what is the shape of this graph. So let's say we have your graph right here. This is your x and this is your y. Okay, so basically the main thing you need to know here is what is the shape of this graph. It will look something like this, right? And it will never touch this one. So the main point here, as you can see, the graph will keep going on, and the graph will be also keep going on in both directions. So basically, for this value of x, as your x keep growing on, your value of y keeps going on as well. So basically the main point is your range, your domain, sorry. So this one is the domain, right? Domain of G inverse will be, domain we have to write in terms of x. X will be any number in the real values, because as you can see, x, so it is the range of G. This is the graph of G. Range is the measurement of up and down. As you can see, it keeps going on until minus infinity, and it keeps going up until infinity. So it can take any value up and down. That's why domain of G will be x, can be any real values. So that's why we have domain is this and the range is this. Okay, that is for part A of the question. Now for part B, solve the equation g of x, h of x is 10. So one by one. So first let's find g of h of x. So g of x is 2 plus 4 ln x become g of x. Then replace the value, you will have 2 plus 4 ln of sorry, that is h, my bad, it should be h here. You will have h, so x squared plus 4. And now that is equal to the value of 10. Now let's solve to find the value of x. So we have 4 ln of x squared plus 4 is equal to 8. So ln x squared plus 4 is equal to 2. From this, you can find the value of x squared plus 4 has to be exponential power 2. So you guys have to know this. Let's say I have ln on one side, I have a here, I have b. So if you want to find the value of a will be exponential b. Okay, you have to know this. When you send ln over the other side, it becomes exponential. Now it's the same thing. If you have exponential on one side and you have a here, You want to find the value of b. When you send exponential to the other side, it will become ln. So it's the same thing, but inversely. As you can see, you have to know these two steps. Okay, coming back to the question now. So right now we have to make x become the subject of formula. So that will be e squared minus 4. X has to be e squared minus 4. Root of that. Now, of course, you would say we have plus minus. But since, as you can see here, it has to be positive values. So here we can only take the positive value of x. That is your question part B. Now let's move on to part C of the question. So here we have to solve this equation. So first you have to know what is g prime. G prime is just the d of dx of g of x. And same thing for h prime. So let's write down what are the values for each of them. So we know g of x is equal to what? 2 plus 4 ln x. So g prime will be differentiation of that one. That will be 0 plus 4 times 1 over x, which is 4 over x. Now same thing, we know that h of x is equal to x squared plus 4. So h prime of x will be 2x, right? Now replace the two values back in the equation. On one side you will have 4 over x is equal to 2x. Now what is 2x? 2x is 2x over 1. We can cross multiply. You will have 4 is equal to 2x squared, which will lead to x squared is equal to 4. So 4 divided by 2, obviously. Now x squared is 2, which finally give you the value of x is root of 2. That is your value for x. Now that is part 3, question number 3. Now let's move on to question number 4. So on the axis below, sketch the graph of y equal to 2 sine 3 over 2x minus 1. And for this domain, okay, showing the coordinates of the points where the graph meets the axis. So again, showing the coordinates where the graph meets the axis. So meets where it meets your y-axis and your x-axis. You have to show exactly the point when this happens. Okay, so let's do one by one. So whenever you draw a trigonometric curve, you have to compare to the. So here we have a sine b x plus c. So it always helps you to compare with your general equation. Now the first thing you see is that the value of c here is minus 1, which means your line y equal to minus 1 is your baseline. Okay, so first thing, let's draw this line. Now let's break down our scale equally. Let's see what do we have here. So basically here we have measurement of, so it seems to be 1, 2, 3, 4.5 is 3 units. So 4.5 divided by 3, 1.5 will be 1. So let's measure. 1.5, this is 1.5, 1, 2. So this is 1 and 2. Now let's do the same for the bottom one. Here we have 1.5. And so we have what? So let me count. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 3 something. So it should be about, so 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, 4.2 divided by 3. That should be 1.4. So 1.4 should be about here. And 1.4 should be about this value here. Okay, so it should be the same usually, but it's not important here because we're only sketching. Sketch does not need to be exact. You just need to have an idea where the points are. Okay, so that's the main thing. But following that, we need to first draw the line of y equal to minus 1 because that's your baseline, as you can see here. So let's first draw this line. So let's do that. It is a horizontal line. Okay, this is your line. y equal to minus 1. Now, you have to look at the amplitude. Amplitude here is 2, as you can see. So we count 1, 2, so that will be the other line. Okay, and we have to count also below, so 1, 2, that will be this line. Okay, that's it. Okay, so this helps us to know where is our graph. So your graph will always go between those two values, and this one will be acting as a mid line that helps you to divide your curve equally. Now, as you can see, your graph will be only inside those two lines. Now we have to know how to divide those intervals, right? So we have 0, 180, but what are the intervals we need to divide to? So to know this, we have to look at this value, which is this one. So we take the value of 90, divide by b, which is 3 over 2, to find your interval. So 90 divided by 3 over 2, that should be 60. So your interval will be 60. Okay, so let's measure that. Here you will have approximately 10.5. Okay, so let's divide 10.5 by 3, because we have 3 intervals, right? Because we know 60 times 3 is 180, so we have only 3 intervals. 10.5 divided by 3 should be 3.5. So let's do that. Again, this is not important, it is only a measurement, and you don't need that because it is only a sketch, but it helps you to draw something pretty accurate and help you to understand better. So I would advise, if you have time to do all this, yes, go ahead and do it. Okay, so it helps you to measure properly. That will be 7 and that will be 10. So this will be 60, this will be 120. Now let's find the values on this, and this points. Replace back in your equation. So first, what is the value of y when x equal to 0? So you have y equal to 2 sine of 0 minus 1. That will be minus 1. So 0 will be minus 1. Now for 60, 2 sine of 3 over 2 times 60 minus 1. That will be 1. Okay. And for 120, 2 sine of 3 over 2 times 120 minus 1 equal to minus 1. And then we have this one, which is 180. 2 sine of 3 over 2 times 180 minus 1, that will be minus 3. Minus 3 will be below. Okay, so now we have the shape of the graph, but don't forget the question is asking you to find the coordinates of where it meets the axis. We can see that the y-axis will be this point. How about the x-axis? So we have to solve the equation. So let's do that. So here we have y equal to 2 sine 3 over 2 sorry, x minus 1. Now we know that at x-axis, again the value of y is 0. Replace that back in your equation. You will have 2 sine of 3 over 2x minus 1 is 0. Now we have to make this one become your subject of formula. So you will have sine 3 over 2x is equal to 1 over 2. Since sine is positive, it has two values, one in the first quadrant and one in the second quadrant. So 3 over 2x is equal to 30 degrees and also 150, right? Because in this quadrant it will be 180 minus this one, 150. X will be what value? 30 times 2 divided by 3, that will be 20. And also let's write this one will be 150 times 2 divided by 3 will be 100. Okay, so let's first join the curve and then mark those 2 points on your axis. Now this one will be this one, and this one has to be someone like this. Not so great, but you get the idea. Should be pretty smooth. Should be pretty smooth. Okay, this one is not too smooth. Make sure you draw this pretty smoothly. Okay, but the point here is you have to mention that this is 100 and this is 20 according to your calculations. Okay, so that will be your question number 4. Now let's move on to question number 5. So a 6-character password is to be chosen from the following 9 characters. So in everything together we have 9 characters and we want to choose 6 characters. So here we have letters, numbers, and symbols. Now each character may be used only once. That is very important here. Also, question: find the number of different 6-character passwords that may be chosen if there's no restriction. So we have 9. We want to select 6, but here the order is important because of password. That will be permutation 6. Okay, that will be 9p6. That will be 6480. Okay, but now let's say if you don't know how to use this p thing, you can always go back to the basics. For example, we have 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 spaces where we want to choose the characters. We have 9 characters. Now for the first one we have 9 choice. We can choose anything. If there's no restriction, that will be 9 choice. Then this one we have 8 choices, 7 choices, 6, 5, and 4 choices. So 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4. That will be the same answer. Okay, so both methods will give you the same answer. Okay, so that will be part 1. Now for part 2, the password consists of 2 letters, 2 numbers, and 2 symbols in that order. Okay, so now if you go up, you count, we have 4 letters, we have 3 numbers, and 2 symbols. Now as you can see, they need you to have 2 letters, 2 numbers, and 2 symbols in that specific order. Now we have to begin with the letters. So we have 4 letters. So for the first one we have 4 choices, right? And then for the second one we have 3 choices. Following this has to be numbers. So for the first one we have 3 choices and then 2. Then last one we just have 2 symbols, right? So we will have 2 and then 1 choice. So we have to multiply, 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 and multiply. So 4 times 3 times 3 times 2 times 2 times 1. That will be 144 as your answer. That will be for part 2. Now for part 3, the password must start and finish with a symbol. That is the condition. So start here, symbol, and in between we don't need symbol. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then finish with a symbol. Now as you guys know, we have 2 symbols. So we can choose anything for the first one. So we have 2 choices, right? 2 of the symbols. And last one we have only 1 remaining. And then, so let's break this down. Basically we have 9 characters in total. We have 2 symbols and then 7 characters. So in here in between there's no condition. We can put anything we want to. So for the first one we have 7, right? And then we have 6, 5, 4 choices. So let's multiply to find your answer. That will be 2 times 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 1. That will be 1680. And this is your answer for part 3. Let's move on to part B of question number 5. So in an examination consists of section A containing 10 short questions and section B containing 5 long questions. Candidates are required to answer 6 questions from section A and 3 questions from section B. So these are the conditions, 6 from A and 3 from B. Now first one, find the number of different selections of questions can be made if there's no restrictions. So basically we need to select 6 questions from A. So 10, right? A has 10 questions. We have to select choose 6. And from b, we have 5, choose 3. 10, choose 6 times 5, choose 3. That will be 2100 for your answer. Now for part 2, we have candidates must answer the first 2 questions in section A and the first question in section B. These are the conditions. Now, you can rewrite the section as this to help you. So we know A, we have 10 questions, but we have the first 2 questions and the remaining 8 questions, right? So same way, B, we have also the first question that we must take and also the remaining 4 questions. So now it is the same condition as beginning. We need to choose 6 from A and we need to choose 3 from B. Agree, right? So let's do that. So basically, for the first 2, we need to choose those 2. 2 out of those 2, we have to choose them. And then from the 8, we have to choose 6 from section A. So we have to choose 2 already. So we have to choose 4. Yeah, so 2 plus 4 is 6. We need 6 from A. And from B, this is from A, right? And from B, we need the first one we need to choose. We don't have a choice, so 1, choose 1. And then from the remaining 4, we have to choose, so 2, because we need 3 questions from B. 1 plus 2 is 3, so we need 3. So that is your answer. 2, choose 2, times 8, choose 4, times 1, choose 1, times 4, choose 2. That will be 420. Okay, that will be your question number 5. Now let's move on to question number 6. A particle travels in a straight line such that t seconds after passing a point O, its velocity v is given by this equation. That is the velocity. Now part 1, find the speed of p at O. At O, we know that the time is 0, so we can first find the velocity at time 0. You will have exponential 0 minus 4 power 3. Now we know that anything power 0 is 1 minus 4 power 3. That is the same as minus 3 power 3. That will be minus 27. But now you have to know v is actually velocity, which is it is a vector quantity, but speed is a scalar quantity which does not have direction. So speed would actually be positive value of 27. Okay, so this is where it gets tricky. You have to understand what they are asking you for, because speed doesn't have direction. This is s, of course, and that will be your answer, and not minus 27, because that is the velocity. Okay, that is part 1. Now part 2, find the value of t for which p is at rest. So whenever you see at rest, just know this: at rest v has to be 0. So whenever you see that, just remember v has to be 0 at rest. Okay, so equate here. We have 0 equal to this equation, power 3. Now let's make t become the subject of formula. That will give you what? Exponential t squared over 8 minus 4 is equal to 0. Now we have to equate that equation. I mean, not equate, but try to find the value of t. So you will have exponential t squared over 8 is equal to 4. Now we can send this over here. You will have t squared over 8 is equal to ln of 4, which in turn will be t squared is equal to 8 ln 4. So t has to be root of 8 ln 4. So we cannot take a negative value here because t is time. Time can only be positive. So ln 8 ln of 4 square root, that will be 3.33 seconds. That is your answer for part B. Now for part C, we have to find the acceleration of p at time t equal to 1. So you have to first know how do you find the acceleration. It is equal to dv by dt. So we know v is equal to this equation. So it is exponential, of course, minus 4 power 3. So a, which is dv by dt, will be, first we have to multiply by the power. That will be exponential. That will be 2. And then multiply by the differentiation of the inside. You will have exponential will remain the same. Multiply by the top, you will have 2t over 8. That will become 3 times t over 8 times exponential t squared over 8 times exponential t squared over 8 minus 4 power 2. Okay. So we have to find the value of a when time equal to 1. Replace the value of 1 in the equation. Let's see what happens. So you have this should be 2 here. I'm missing a 2 here. Right, 2. Now you have 1. So a will be 3 times, so this one can cancel out, 1 over 4 times exponential 1 over 8 times exponential 1 over 8 minus 4 squared. So let's do that. So let's find those values. So let's first find this one. Exponential 1 over 8 is what? Is this value. So now we have 3 times 1 over 4 times the answer, which is exponential, and then bracket exponential minus 4 square. That should be 6.98. So a will be 6.98 meters per second square, correct to 3SF. And that is your question number 6. Now let's move on to question number 7. So here we have variables x and y. So, but we have the graph of log y is plotted against x squared. A straight line graph is passing through those 2 points is obtained. Okay. Now part 1, given that y is equal to this equation, find the value of a and b. So the first thing you notice is that in this equation we don't have log and x squared. So we have to make this become something in terms of log y and x squared. So the first step is, as you can see, we can apply log on both sides. You have log of y is equal to log of a bx squared. Now we can break this down. You will have log of y is log of a plus log of b x squared. That will be log of y equal to x squared times log of b plus log of a. Now let's simplify. You will have log of y is equal to log of b x squared plus log of a. So now if you observe, as you have seen here, we have log of y is plotted against x squared. Okay, so now we have an equation for this one in terms of log of y and x squared. Now this one is a straight line. So if you observe, if you compare with our equation for a straight line that we know, when x is against, so when y is against x, we have something like this. So by comparison, you can see this has to be your gradient and this has to be your y-intercept. So we know this is gradient, so log of b has to be your gradient. And how do you find gradient? You find it by using your formula, because we know 2 points already. That will be your y1, so y2 minus y1 divided by your x2 minus x1. So 0.1 minus 0.73, sorry, 0.1 minus 0.73 divided by 3. That should be minus 0.21. So log b is minus 0.21. From this you have b has to be 10 power minus 0.21. That will be 0.617 for the value of b, correct to 3SF. Now let's find the value of a. So now we know this value. Replace back in your equation. You will have log of y is log of b is minus 0.21 times x squared plus log of a. Now we have to use one of those points to find the value of a. So let's use this point. Let's use the point 1 and 0.73. Now this is the graph. This is obtained by drawing this line, which is, this one is x squared, this one is log y. The reason why this is x squared and log y is because log y is plotted against x squared. Okay, that's why we choose those as those values. Now replace this one back in your equation. You will have 0.73 for this one, minus 0.21, x squared is 1, plus log a. So log a is equal to what? 0.73 plus 0.21, that will be 0.94. So a will be 10 power 0.94. That is 8.71, correct to 3SF. That is your value of a. Okay, that is for part 1 of the question. Now part B, find the value of y when x is equal to 1.5. So now to find those values, we have to go back to our equation. We know that log of y is equal to minus 0.21 x squared plus what is log of a is equal to 0.94. Okay, that is our equation of straight line that we use to find those values. Now replace this x in your equation. So here we have log of y is equal to this times x squared plus 0.94. So minus 0.21 times 1.5 squared plus 0.94. That should be 0.4675. So y has to be 10 power this. That will be 2.93, correct to 3SF. That is your answer for part B. Now for part C, the same thing as well. Find the positive value of x when y equal to 2. Same thing, we'll use our equation. Now we have to make x become the subject of formula. So first replace this one back here. You will have log of 2, and that will be minus 0.94 is equal to 0.2 x squared. X squared is what? Let's find out. This is minus, of course. So log of 2 minus 0.94 divided by minus 0.21. That will be 3.0427. So x has to be square root of that. That will be 1.74. We have to only find the one value, so that will be the one value we need to find. X will be 1.74, correct to 3SF. That will be question number 7. Now let's move on to question number 8. So here we have the diagram shows a circle, center O, and radius R. So this also has to be R, right? Now, the points A and B lie on the circle such that angle AOB is 2 theta radians. Now question part 1 is, given that the perimeter of the region is 20, show that we have R is equal to this. So first we have to try to find the perimeter of that region. It is basically AB plus arc AB. So how do you find length of arc? So arc can be found by using a few ways. We can use the formula basically, right? Arc AB is equal to r theta. R is r, theta is 2 theta. That will be 2r theta. That is the length of arc AB. Now how can you find the chord AB? Right. So here we can use a trick. We can just try to do this and obtain your, as you can see, your right angle triangle. And this angle here will be theta. This will be this, and we have to find this one. Now we have to use SOHCAHTOA. So this is your O side, and this is your hypotenuse. So you have to use sine of theta is equal to, let's call this side x, your x over r. So x will be r sine theta. So this is x, so AB will be 2 times x. So AB will be 2 times x, which is 2r sine theta. So finally, the perimeter P is equal to 2r theta plus 2r sine theta, and that is supposed to equal to 20 centimeter. Now we can divide by 2 everywhere. You will have r theta plus r sine theta is equal to 10. Now factorize, you have theta plus sine theta is equal to 10. So make r become the subject. R will be 10 divided by theta plus sine theta. And this is shown as required. Same thing, right? Shown as required. Okay, so let's move on to part B of the question. Given that r and theta can vary, you have to find the value of dr by d theta when this is the value. So let's do that. So right now we have r is equal to what? 10 over theta plus sine theta. Now of course we can rewrite this as 10 times theta plus sine theta power minus 1. So we have to find dr by d theta. That will be found step by step. So first thing, 10 is only a multiple. We can leave this outside. Here we have power. We have first multiply by power. And then we have to minus 1 to the power. You will have minus 2. Then multiply by the differentiation of the inside. That will be 1 plus cos theta. So your answer will be minus 1 times 10 will be minus 10. On top we have 1 plus cos theta divided by, this will go down as theta plus sine theta square. So basically we have to find dr by d theta when theta is equal to pi by 6. Replace back in the equation. So we have minus 10, 1 plus cos pi by 6 over pi by 6 plus sine pi by 6 square. So let's see. You guys must know already, pi is 180 divided by 6 is 30 degrees. So 30 degrees. Here we have cos of 30 degrees is exact value of root 3 over 2. And sine of 30 degrees is half. Now, of course, you need practice to know this, and I would advise, I mean, you don't need to, but I would advise you guys to memorize this because it will come up very often in O-level and A-level papers. So make sure you memorize those. It make your life easier for when you will get those kind of questions. So when they ask you to find the exact value of something, and when you have trigonometry, these will help you. So memorize these ones. It is very important. Okay. Now let's replace back. You will have minus 10, 1 plus root 3 over 2 divided by pi by 6 plus half. Now if you want to simplify, we can simplify, or if not, we can stop right here. Let's see what we can do. Okay, so let's simplify the bottom first. The bottom we have pi over 6 plus 1 over 2. So we have to make it become the same base, which is 6. That will be 3 plus pi, right? How about the top? The top we have 1 plus root 3 over 2. Become same base, which is 2. That will be 2 plus root 3. Now going back to your equation, you will have minus 10, 2 plus root 3 over 2 divided by 3 plus this over 6. Okay, now if you want to simplify, we can do something. So if you guys know, when you have a fraction divided by another fraction, you can write this divide as multiply, which is a over b multiplied by d over c. So same way here, we can write this down as minus 10. The first one is the same, which is 2 plus root 3 over 2 multiplied by 6 over 3 plus this. Now you can simplify. You will have what? You will have this will go away, this will become 3, and you will have minus 30 bracket 2 plus root 3 over 3 plus this. This will be your answer for dr by d theta. Now, it didn't ask you for exact value. You can always find the decimal values and provide that as your answer as well. It should be okay. Okay. Now, if you want to write the units, because it is radius over angle, that will be what? Radius is centimeter, and that will be per rad. Okay, that will be your unit for this value. And that will be your question number 8. Let's move on to question number 9. So here I think we have to use vectors to see what's happening. So in the diagram we have AB is equal to 4A, we have BC is equal to B, and DC is equal to 7A. 7A, 4A, and B. Now, the lines AC and DB intersect at X. So X. Now part 1, find in terms of A and B. First one is DB. So DB. Starting from D, how can we go to B? We have to go from D, C, C, B, right? So DC is 7A, and CB will be minus B, because B is in this direction. When you go the opposite direction, has to be minus. That will be first one. Now for B, DA, how can we do that? We can do DC, CB, BA, right? So DA will be DB, BA. So 7A minus B minus 4A. That will be 3A minus B. That will be part B. Now let's move on to part C. We have, given that AX is lambda times AC, so we know that X has to be somewhere on AC. So just like you see here, X is on AC, so AX is lambda times AC. And they are collinear points, right? Now find in terms of A, B, and lambda, AX, sorry. So we just have to find AC. How would you find AC? AC will be AB, BC. So it's this times AC, which is AB, which is 4A, times BC, which is B. That will be 4 lambda A plus lambda B. That will be part C. Now for part D, we have to find dx. Dx will be this one. And how can you find dx? Let's observe. You would say dx will be the same as dA and then ax, right? So dA, you have found this here already. dA is 3a minus b. And then ax will be this one, which is 4 lambda a plus lambda b. So let's simplify. You will have 3 plus 4 lambda a plus lambda minus 1 and then b. That will be your dx. Okay, that is part D of the question. Now let's move on to part E. Given that dx is mu times db, so where's db? db is this value, okay? So we have dx is mu, so dx is mu times db, mu. What is db? db is, so dx mu a db, we have found this from part A, that is 7a minus b. That was 7 mu a minus mu b. So we have to find the value of mu and find the value of lambda. So pretty easy, because if you see here from part D, we have found the value of dx to be something like this, and here we have found the value of dx to be something like this. So we just have to equate, because we know that dx is equal to dx. Basically, the one from part D has to equal to this one, right? Now replace on both sides to see what happens. So on one side we have 3 plus 4 lambda a plus lambda minus 1 b has to equal to this one, 7 mu a minus mu b. So basically we have to compare the coefficients. So in front of a here we have this, so here we have this. So the first one is 3 plus 4 this is equal to 7 mu. That's the first equation. And here we have this, and here we have this. So we have mu minus 1 is equal to this. So that is our second equation. Yes. Now we have to solve these two simultaneously. So let's find those values. Replace this in here. You will have 3 plus 4 lambda will be 7 mu is 1 minus lambda. So 3 plus 4 lambda will be 7 minus 7 lambda. Now send this one over here. You will have 11 lambda will be 4 lambda will be 4 over 11. Now mu, 1 minus 4 over 11 will be 7 over 11. So finally we have the two values. Lambda is 4 over 11 and mu will be 7 over 11. That will be the question number 9. Right. Now let's move on to question number 10. So first one here, we have to sketch the graph of y equal to exponential x minus 5 on the axis below. Now, showing the exact coordinates of the points where the graph cuts the axis. So again, we have to see where it cuts our axis. No? So let's see. At x-axis, the value of y is 0. Let's try to solve this. You will have 0 is exponential x minus 5. Exponential x is 5. X will be ln of 5. So let's see what is that value. That will be about 1.609. That is the point where we have 1.609 and 0. That is the first point we know on the x-axis. Now the same steps on the y-axis. Let's see if we have anything. At y-axis, the value of x has to be 0. Replace in your equation, you will have y is equal to exponential 0 minus 5. That will be 1 minus 5. That should be minus 4. The point will be 0 minus 4. Okay, so that is the two values we have on the axis. Now, what is the shape of this graph? You have to, so it helps you to know if you know what is the shape of this graph. So for example, let me draw this graph. This is the exponential graph, which is x and y. It will always be something like this. It will keep going on, and with this line as your asymptote. This is the point of 1. This is exponential x. Now here we have exponential x minus 5. So minus 5 means going down by 5, but with the same shape. So we have to basically, so this number here on the end, it becomes our new asymptote. As you can see, this one was at first our asymptote. For example, here, this graph is what? You would say it is y equal to exponential x, but it is plus 0, right? This is how here we have minus 5, here we have plus 0. So the graph of y equal to 0, which is this line, was our asymptote. That's why it goes in this direction, but it never touches this line. But now here we have minus 5. So same thing, we have this shape again, same shape, but this new line will be our asymptote. So let's draw a line here. Let's mark this as our line of y equal to minus 5. This is the point, minus 5. This will be our new asymptote. And as you can see, when you draw your graph, you will have the point 0 minus 4 should be somewhere, let's say about here. And then you will have somewhere around here. So you will have something like this. Basically, your graph will be going like this and keep going up. So basically, you will have the same shape, but with a new asymptote and new points of intersection. This will be the point of, you can write 1.609, or you can write ln of 5. This one is the point of minus 4. Okay. Okay, then we just have to label the graph of y exponential x minus 5. Okay, that is your graph. Sketch, of course. Sketch is just, doesn't need to be exactly the scale. It just needs to be somewhat have the right shape. Okay, but here we have to label the points where it crosses your axis. That is part 1. Now for part B, find the ranges of value of k. The range you have to know. Range is the up and down value. That's the range. Okay, range of values of k for which this equation has no solution. So this is your y, right, equal to k has no solution. Now y equal to a constant k is a horizontal line, right? Now when does a horizontal line have no equation? For example, if I draw a line here, You would say, okay, I have one solution here, so that's not the answer. If I draw a line here, I have one solution here. Now what happens if I draw a line here? I have no solution. What happens if I draw a line here? No solution, no solution, no solution. So basically, the value of k has to be less or equal to minus 5. And why is it equal to minus 5? Because this line is your asymptote. This curve would only approach this line. It would only approach this line. It would never meet the line. That's why it can also be that line for the values of k. And that is your answer for part 2. Now for part B. So now if you guys don't know what is the definition, you can write down. We have two kinds of asymptotes. One is a horizontal asymptote, and a vertical asymptote. So just so you guys know, we have two kinds of asymptote, right? Asymptote is basically a line where your curve will never meet, and usually for exponential curves, we have a horizontal asymptote, and for a long or logarithm curve, the asymptote will be vertical, because the shape of this one is what? If you guys know, it will be something like this. It will never meet this line. The shape of this, as you have seen, it is always like this. It will never meet this line. So they have a asymptote for these two kind of curves, horizontal and vertical. Asymptote means a line where they will never meet. Okay, that will be part 2. Now let's move on to part. This is question 15. Yep, part B of this question. Same question number 10. So here we have to simplify this, giving you answer in this form, where p is a constant. So here we have to use the laws of logarithm to see what can we do. Now let's observe. What is root of 2? We will say it is 2 power half. So same thing, you will have log of a with 2 power half. Now what is 8? 8 is 2 power 3. So plus log of a 2 power 3. Now what is half? Half is simply 2 power minus 1. So plus log of a 2 power minus 1. Now let's send the powers to the beginning. That's the law of logarithm we have to know. So you will have half of log of a2 plus 3 log of a2 plus minus 1 log of a2. Now if you observe, we have the same logarithm for everyone. If you want to, we can always factorize them outside. You will have, we have log of a2. Here we have half. Here we have plus 3 and minus 1. Okay, so you will have, what is that? Half plus 3 minus 1 is 2.5, right? 3.5 minus 1, so your answer will be 2.5 log of base a2. And that is your answer, where p is equal to 2.5. Now for part C, we have to solve this equation. Okay, so step by step, the first thing you realize is that we have different bases, base of 3 and base of 9. So first, let's make this one become the same base, right? So log of 9, so 9 4x become the same base. Now it'll be log of 3. Sorry, let me write this down again. Log of 3 4x divided by log of 3 9. Now log of 3 9 is equal to 2, because you have to know that 9 is actually what? 9 is 3 power 2. So log of 3 power 2, 2 will be going to the front, becomes 2, log of 3 and log of 3 is 1. So basically, log of a base and of the same value has to be 1. Okay, that's why it becomes 2. So now replace back in your equation. You will have log of base 3x minus log of base 3 4x divided by 2 is equal to 1. Now, to eliminate this value of 2, we have to multiply by 2 everywhere. You will have 2 log of 3x, log of 3 base of 3x minus log of base 3 4x equal to 2. Now we have to send this power over here. You will have log of 3 x squared minus log of 3 base 3 4x equal to 2. Now we can combine those two together. Let's see what happens. You will have log of 3, x squared minus become divide of 4x equal to 2. Now we have to send this over here as the base for the power. So you have to know this thing. So let's say we have log of base a equal to b. So here we have x, right? So if you want to find the value of x, x will be a power b. So you have to know this. So basically same thing here. If you want to find these two values, that will be 3 base 2, which is 9. Now we just cross multiply. You will have x squared is equal to what? Is equal to 36x. Okay, now we send everything to one side. You will have x squared minus 36x is equal to 0. Now let's continue. You will have x factorized. You will have x minus 36 is 0. X can be 0. X can be 36. Okay, so now can the value of x be 0? We can check, because you can replace back in the equation. You will see that is not possible, but let's check. Log of 0 is error, so this value will be rejected. So only one value will be possible for x equal to 36. And that is your question number 10. Now let's move on to question number 11. So that is the last question, I believe, and let's see how we can do this. So we have to show the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. So always begin from the left hand side, and let's simplify from this point. So you observe what is cosec and cosec. You see cosec theta is 1 divided by sine theta. On top you have this, and on the bottom you have 1 over sine theta, which is cosec theta minus sine theta. Now they have different bases. Let's make them become the same. You will have over sine theta, right? We can make it become the same base, and that will become 1 minus sine squared theta at the top. Because if you want to change 1 to sine, you have to multiply by sine theta. But when you multiply the base, you also have to multiply the top. That's why you have 1 here the same, minus sine squared theta over sine theta. Now replace back in the main equation. On top you have 1 over sine theta divided by 1 minus sine squared theta over sine theta. That is equal to what? 1 over sine theta multiply. When you change divide to multiply, you have to flip this upside down. It will become sine theta over 1 minus sine squared theta. Now these two will cancel out, and that will become 1 over, what is 1 minus sine squared theta? So you have to know that is cos square theta, and 1 over cos is sec theta, so that will become sec square theta. Okay, and this is shown as required. That is part A of the question. Now for part B, we have to hence solve this equation. So hence meaning using the first value, as you can see here. So here we had theta, here we did not have 2, but we can simplify this. As you can see, divide by 2, that is 1, that is 4. So this here will become sec square phi, become 4. Now let's find the values. Now what is this? This is 1 over cos squared theta. So cos squared theta is equal to 1 over 4. Now we have two possible values. Cos theta is plus minus 1 over 2. Okay, so we have to find the possible values for each of them. So let's first find the negative values. So cos theta is equal to minus half. So as you guys know, if cos is negative, it will be in your second quadrant and your third quadrant. Sorry. So this will be usually 180 minus theta, and this is actually here we are looking for phi, not theta, phi. Okay. So this is 180 plus theta. So let's first find the value of theta, because usually is whenever you see we have a negative value here, it is always best to find the value of theta, which is basically equal to cos inverse of the positive value of half. That will be 60 degrees. Okay, so now theta is not your answer. We have to find the value of phi. Phi is determined by using your quadrants. The first one is 180 minus theta. So 180 minus 60, that will be 120. And then this plus 60, that should be 240. So you have two values for theta when this is negative. Now what happens when cos is positive? Let's do this here. So that will be in your first quadrant and your second quadrant and your fourth quadrant. This is 360 minus theta, and this is just theta. So, but of course we're not looking for the value of theta. Phi has to be, the first quadrant is 60 degrees, because we know cos inverse of positive half is 60. That will be 60, and this one will be 360 minus 60 will be 300. So finally your three values of phi will be 60, 120, 240, and 300. Everything is between those two values, right? That is for part A. Now for part B, we have to solve this equation between those two and giving your answer in terms of pi. So that is important here. We have to give your answers as exact values. So step by step, the first thing you need to do is to make tan become the subject of formula. So tan x plus this over 4 is equal to 1 over root 3. Now, since tan is positive, it has to be in your first quadrant and your third quadrant. So this is theta, and this is simply 180, which is pi plus theta. Okay, but of course here we are finding the value of this angle here. So we have to write x plus this over 4 is equal to tan inverse of 1 over root 3. So what is the value? So 1 divided by root 3, tan inverse, that will be 30 degrees. So, but we need our answer in terms of radians. So we know 30 degrees is equal to pi by 6. That is the first value. And the other value is this plus pi by 6. That should be 7 pi by 6. Okay, that is the two values we need to find. And now what else can we do now? We can test, because as you observe, here we have, so let's try it, because here we have x plus pi by 4, here we have x. So what is the domain of x plus pi by 4? It has to be a new domain. It has to be pi by 4, and this has to be, so what is 2 pi by 4? We have to make everything becomes over 4. You will have 2 times 4 will be 8, 8 plus 1 will be 9, 9 pi by 4. So if you express in terms of degrees for you to understand, so 180 divided by 4 is 45, less than x plus this, that will be 9 times 180 divided by 4. Between those two values in terms of degrees, just for you to understand that this angle here has to be between those two. This is 45, between 45 and 45 degrees. Now what are those values in terms of degrees? This is 30 degrees, and this is 150 degrees, right? Sorry, this is not 150. This is actually 180 plus this. That should be 210. My bad. So 210 will be this value here. So we have to check if this angle, if we can find some other values for those angles. So I think yes, because if you want to add 360 to this one, what value you will have? You will have 390, which is still inside of this value. So let's use that. So pi over 6 plus 2 pi, you will have 13 pi over 6. That will be another value. Now you can test again. If you add 360 to this one, you will have 0. That will be 7, 5. So 570 will be outside the range, so it will not be good. So we will only have 3 values, which is inside this range. Okay. So usually you will end up with 2 values at first. And then by testing the domain given to you, you will see that by adding 360, you will see you have another value which is inside the range. Then you have to also take the third value. So that's the trick here. So you have to understand, at first you will only have 2 values. But now since we have a bigger range, bigger domain, we have to test. And testing means adding 360 to each values or 2 pi to each values to find the next value. And here it was possible, but here it was too much, so we will not take this one. We will take this one. So you will end up with 3 values. So right now you have x is equal to pi over 6, which is 1 over 6, minus 1 over 4. That will be minus pi over 12. And then you will have this one, 7 over 6 minus 1 over 4. That will be 11 over 12 pi. And then you will have 13 over 6 minus 1 over 4. That should be, that will be 11 over 12 pi. So as you can see, now this is the value of x that you need to find, but now you can see x is only between 0 and 2 pi. So this will be outside the range, and you will end up with 2 values, which is x is 11 over 12 pi, and this will be, so 1 times 12 is 12, 12 plus 11 is 23, so 23 over 12 pi. So you have 2 values for x. Okay, so that will be the last question of this paper. I hope that was somewhat helpful. As always, if you guys have any questions, any requests, let me know in the comments. I will get back to you guys as soon as possible. And thank you for watching. I will see you soon.